You're listening to the Ringer NBA show presented by FanDuel. America's #1 sportsbook has made it easier than ever to get in on the action during an NBA playoff game, even after tip-off. Just look for the live SGP tab on the FanDuel Sportsbook app and build your bet slip. Then sit back, relax, and track the outcome of your parlay right in the app. And if you don't already have it, download the FanDuel app today to make every moment more. The Ringer is committed to responsible gaming. Please visit rg-help.com to learn more about the resources and helplines available and listen to the end of the episode for additional details. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
What's poppin'? Real ones. Logan Murdock here. Roger Bell there. Howard Beck later this week. I asked Roger if he was ready to pod, and he gave me a look like, motherfucker, I'm recording. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you gave me like a really cold look, dude. Are you okay?
I'm good. I don't like people asking me dumb shit, though. I mean,
you don't like,
generally speaking.
You don't like when we ask you if you're good, if you late. You don't like us calling you, motherfucker.
No. You weren't asking. Let's be clear. Let's just to clarify. You weren't asking if I was good. Like, how are you doing today, man? Like, you having any feelings that you need to talk through with anybody? You weren't asking me that. You were asking me if I was recording. To which I would say again, I don't like people asking me dumb shit.
Yo, we're recording this at 9:11 Pacific time in the morning. And the reason why we're doing this is because for 5 minutes we just had Philly talk. I promise we're going to talk about OKC, Shea versus Ant, Knicks, Cat, all these things. But first off, we made a revelation. We found out some good news on the Real Ones pre-pod meetings. The TGI Fridays on City Ave in Philadelphia is still open, ladies and gentlemen. The famous TGI Fridays. Let me just quarterback this thing real quickly. Before the pod, about maybe 30 minutes before the pod, Cliff sends me and Victoria. Also, shout out to Victoria on the boards, Victoria on the video, Cliff on the board. So Cliff sends us on Instagram this like Philly like legends Instagram, and it's Val and Iverson, and it's talking about like how he used to be shooting dice on the corner, used to be at the TGI Fridays, and among other things. But the thing that I gravitated towards was the TGI Fridays on City Line. I don't know what City Line is, so I had to just Google that, and turns out this TGI Fridays is still in business, and I was really, really happy about this. What is your favorite TGI Friday moment that you can share? Raja.
Me? No. I was not
you weren't invited to the TGI Friday parties?
I wasn't a regular at TGI Fridays.
The Iverson TGI Friday party?
I can't say that I was. I mean, I may have been at one or two, but like that was not my regular stop after a game.
Okay, you didn't go after practice? You said it was across the street from the practice facility. You didn't go after practice to get you some Fridays?
No, I lived in the other direction. I lived down towards St. Joe's.
Okay.
So like after practice, yeah, I'd be out the other way. No disrespect to Fridays. I like a Fridays. And I've been in that Fridays many a time with my uncle and my family, but like I wasn't a regular with Chuck and his crew at the Fridays.
Okay, Cliff put his own camera on. He put his own bubble on. He didn't even get summoned. He had something shit to say it to you, apparently.
I'm sorry, the way that Rod just tried to pull that off is like, yeah, St. Joe's is a little bit further. Bro, St. Joe's is 5 minutes from that.
No, but I said it's the other way. It's the other way.
It is the other. Raj, it is the other way, but St. Joe's is legitimately 5 minutes down City Line Ave. No, you can't be doing all that. Like it's like some far out West Philly somewhere down there.
I was not trying to say it was
St. Joe's is right there.
I wasn't trying to say we were going deep into Overbrook or anything like that. I was simply saying when I left PCOM at the light at City Ave, I make a right to go to Fridays. Or I make that left and I hit the shop right on the right-hand side, get me a little something for lunch, and then I'm straight to the executive house, which is like, so I wasn't making the right, I was making the left.
It's real Philly talk here. This is Philly talk.
But Logan, did he make that seem like it was like some far
He
planet?
made it seem like TJ Fridays was beneath him. He was like, maybe I'll go.
What?
You know what I mean? Yeah, bro. Like, you over here acting like you forgot about us? You forgot about us, Raja?
That's what y'all came on here. Y'all had a pre-pod meeting. Y'all was just gonna fuck with me today. That's what.
That's what you get for being a whole minute late to the pod record. Okay, all right. Let's gather ourselves. Let's talk.
I will say this.
Playoffs.
I will
What's
say
up?
this. My
What's up,
first
buddy?
apartment, and maybe this is why I didn't go to Fridays a whole lot, because my first apartment upon arrival in Philly for that second year was a nice little apartment complex tucked back behind the TGI Fridays, and I was robbed very quickly in there on a road trip. So there wasn't a whole lot that I wanted to do over in that area.
You were a little
take it back
triggered.
down to St. Joe's. Yeah.
You're a little triggered. When you go to TGI Fridays, you're like Smokey from Friday. You over here
Sweating like a pigeon. Sweating like a slave in the pigeon coop. Yeah.
Oh, man. There's no transition for this, so we're just going to go right into it. Let's go to Minnesota. Minnesota, Oklahoma City Thunder. OKC takes a commanding series lead. I thought the biggest takeaway that I got from this game, Raja, was just how much control OKC had on this game. And it's really hard in postseason settings to have control of the game and control of the pace of the game, but also have control of the game in the sense that whenever Minnesota made a run, OKC had an answer. Whether it was Chet Holmgren put back dunks, whether it was J-Dub, who was my favorite player in the league. I think that I have made that clear. If I haven't made it clear on the pod, I've made it clear to everyone that I see in an arena that J-Dub is my favorite player in the league. And he was hitting big shots. Shea was great. And people will see a stat line, 13 of 30 from the field. Jeez, he wasn't having a good game. No, he took control of the game. And I juxtaposed that, Raja, and we talked about this I believe it was last episode, about Ant's ability to control a game and how that could help or hurt the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I felt like, even though I think in his post game he said that he made all the right plays, I just didn't see the aggressiveness that I would like to see, and also the calmness that I would like to see from a big time player. And also Julius Randle. My goodness.
Yeah.
It's a tough series for him. He's both beaten the allegations in the postseason and also succumbed to the allegations in the postseason. It's kind of I don't know what it is with Julius Randle, but the series is 3-1, and it very much seems like OKC has really hit its stride in this postseason right now.
Well, I would agree with that. 13 for 30. Like, that's not a bad game for a 40 ball with 10 and 9. Like, pretty good game.
It was a pretty good game. The thing is, what I would like,
pretty good.
No, but my thing is this though. From I'm saying it's a great game, but juxtapose that with what Ant did in terms of aggressiveness, I was really disappointed in Ant with that. Right, with the season on the line, what you want to see is you want to go down shooting, and I feel like Shea understood the assignment. He was going to get up 30 shots no matter what.
So there are layers. There are layers to this, right? Like, there is, because I was, I watching it in real time, and then I watched it again. And look, we spoke on, I think it was the last pod about, or maybe it was 2 pods ago, about how Ant, if he wanted to score more efficiently, needed to get behind the first wave of defense and so on and so forth. And then, towards the end of that, I said, and the only other thing you could really do offensively, if you're Ant, with the way OKC is playing you, is just distribute the hell out of the ball and hope that others are making shots in a way that could win a game for you if you were just the primary shifter of defense. Like, everything you're trying to do offensively is to get the defense to kind of like shift or rotate to where 2 people have to be responsible for 1, and then the ball starts moving, right? That's typically how it works, unless they're just going to really just stay at home, and then it's kind of 1-on-1, right? Ant did that last night. Ant said, look, they're doubling me almost every time I put it on the floor. Anytime they give me a real look with Dort, and I go to get somewhere. Here comes the bodies. And he was kicking it around. And kudos to his teammates who were cash. Like they were on
Dante
and in support
DiVincenzo.
all night.
Goodness.
Nikhil Alexander Walker, like dudes were, the only one that didn't really support him was Julius Randle. Here's what I would say. So I heard his post game where he said, I didn't feel like I had an off game or a bad game. I just didn't shoot enough. What I thought Shea did a much better job of, and some of this is the defense, like Minnesota's not choosing to double him in that way. Although, they were early flooding to him when he was on the strong side of the floor. He stayed patient early because Jay Will was really carrying him really early in that game, right? Yeah, Shea hadn't really got it going yet. Like I hear everybody saying that Shea came out and he was on his shit from the jump. He really wasn't. He was just kind of letting the game.
That's
come
why
to
there's
him.
a 13 of 30, not a 13 of like 23 or something like that. Because he had to
but he wasn't even forcing it though. He was just distributing early. And Jay Will, like if my memory serves me correctly, and this was first quarter, but Jay Will was making the first 4 or 5 shots of the game, right? Yeah. And then what Shea did better than Ant was just not succumb to, they're trying to take me away and I'm only going to be a facilitator. Shea just kept checking his offense, right? Sporadically, boop, boop, until he hit one. Then he hit one and you're like, okay, here's a little wrinkle. Like now he's cooking. And what Ant didn't stay present as an offensive bucket in the way that he needed to.
He kind of gave up that, That's what I'm mad at. He kind of gave up that part of his offensive repertoire, right? He was just like, okay, they're doubling me. I'm going to just kick it and make the right basketball play.
Yeah. Well, first of all, some of that has to do with, Lou Dort is phenomenal when he's on him. There's no breathing room coming off any of those screens. And the few times that he did have breathing room, Ant made a play, right? But like Lou Dort is connected. The screener's man, the defender that's guarding the screener is up and corralling the hell out of him. They're just throwing a lot of bodies at him. And even when you got Kaysen on him and other people, like they did a really good job on him. What he doesn't have yet that Shea has is the ability to put somebody on his hip. Like that is an equalizer sometimes. Like Ant wants to play facing you off of that live dribble. And again, you're in a lot of those instances, he's up high on the court. Yeah. Do you know? Listen, we'll just geek out for a second. Do you know what like? If you're playing a basketball game and you got a primary scorer and they're running a zone, do you know where you do not want that guy to be?
On the wings, on the wing side,
top of the key.
Oh, I thought that was. That's man to man, huh? You don't man to man if you're trying to double. The worst part to be is in the middle of the correct. Right.
If you're going to double him, like it's hard to double if he's in the middle, right? But against a zone, like you don't want that guy, your best player all the time, to be at the top of the key. Now, if you start him at the top of the key and then you run him through so he's getting to the wing or the baseline, that's fine. But the reason you don't want him at the top of the key is because all eyes have their butts to the baseline and they're looking at him. Mm-hmm. So everyone is in a natural support position to help against the dude with the ball. You're theoretically your best player. That's where they have Ant almost all the time. And so if a team is dedicated to like stacking, the lanes and choking off your angles to the basket or soft doubling you off a pick and roll, it's going to be tough sledding if he's always there. Minnesota did some stuff late in the game that I liked. They got him off the ball and they started running him off of screens. And the few times they ran him off of screens, he got right downhill. And on top of the basket. And you just got to move him around and you got to help him out because he is developing into the offensive player that Shea is. Shea's got some years on him. Shea's got some experience on him. Shea is a little bit more polished in terms of you throw this at me, I have these answers to the test. Doesn't mean Ant won't get there. But like last night, he let them take him out of that game. And he was brilliant in terms of spraying it around, but they needed, and they had a chance to win, but like you need him to point produce a little bit more than that.
They had a chance to win. There was never a moment during the game where I was like, that goes back to the control thing of OKC, but there was never a moment in the game where I was like, Minnesota is taking this, right? Because OKC had an answer for every single thing that they did. What do you think that say your Ant's trainer, what are you focusing on this offseason? What do you want him to look through? Because I mean, he's a brilliant player, but I think these are the learning lessons that you get throughout the postseason, right? When great elite defenses are keying on you, what do you want to see him mature in offensively this summer?
Well, I've said this before, and I don't know if this was analytically driven by their team or his trainers, or if this is just who he is as a player. But if my memory serves me correctly again, Ant used to play more in the mid-range space than he is currently playing. When I watch him play now, it feels like if you don't give him the three, he's got to get all the way to the basket. And I'll just say this again. Doesn't mean that won't work through the course of an entire season, and you can't be really good at doing that. But when you come up against the best defenses, the best perimeter defenders, the nut crunch time in the playoffs, there needs to be a little bit more variance to his offensive game. There needs to be more second level scoring for me, whether that is without a dribble and I'm just giving you a nice catch on an elbow or around the free throw line if I'm afraid of them doubling, and you can play a la Dirk, like where you have, clear vision both ways. They can't double you. Paul Pierce used to do that a lot. Or it's more mellow in KD where that's on the side of the floor and we're just going to let you cook there. Or, have the offense, and he would need help with this from Minnesota, not always have to have him on the ball and initiating with pick and roll. Do what I said they did like fractionally and very sparsely last night, which was like run him off of some stuff a la Reggie Miller, Rip Hamilton. Like, we don't run Stephen Curry in today's day and age. Like, move him a little bit more. If he doesn't want to do the Shea where I'll just bring you down and put you on a hip and then kind of go to work, Brunson does that very well. Then help him find some variance in his scoring repertoire so that he can be 3 levels more than he is right now. Right now, he's 2 levels. And I think that's by design, but I don't agree with it in playoffs all the time.
It's funny you said that. You brought up Steph Curry's name because I think Steph is one of the singular reasons why he shoots so many threes and like his game is switched up as much as it has. Because I think there was a warped sense of like, we talked about this at the beginning of the season, but I think there was a warped sense of, for Ant, I'm around these guys. I shot a lot of threes over the summer with Team USA. I'm going to just go chuck up threes because, Steph's right there and that's the influence. But I think what he failed to realize, and I'm not mad at it because at this stage of your career of superstardom, you're just trying to test the limits of what your game is right now. You're trying to see what you can do at every level. He's not as refined, so I'm not mad at it. But I think that he got a warped sense of how to get your threes. I think he was forcing a lot of threes this season. They were going in because he's a great shooter, but I don't think there was a lot of times where you're like, you're not doing this within the flow of the game. You're forcing a lot of stuff. And me and Cliff were talking about this over the weekend. Bro, just get to your mid-range. It doesn't have to be you go to the cup or you hit threes. Like you said this a couple pods ago, you make it easier when there's 2 levels. Like if I know that your only antidote to a 3-point attempt is you're going to go to the cup, my ass is either at the painted area or it's above the 3-point line or something in those. I'm paraphrasing, right? But I think that he needs to, like you said, just figure that out and just figure out he could shoot the 3 just when the timing of it is there. And I think that that's going to be fine. I think he's going to figure that out. But I think he's seeing why, like, it was the way he shot threes early in the season throughout that kind of annoyed the modern observer. So
yeah, well, look, he will be fine. Like, so we're doing a little a mini deep dive into his offensive game and what was lacking last night. But look, this is to some degree this is natural progression. We talk about this all the time in a star, in a superstar, in a player in general, right? Like, you're going to go through these things and you're going to learn from them. Hopefully you'll go back to the drawing board and the next time we see you, you'll have an answer to that. I do think that, if you watch the game closely, you could also make an argument that Shea plays from the top a lot, right? Well, the difference is, for whatever reason, Minnesota was not throwing as many bodies at Shea all night long as OKC was throwing at Ant. they threw them early. Like there was a play I remember Shea had it on maybe the left block. He was backing his man down. There were 3 dudes flooded, right? And Richard Jefferson even said it, I think, after Shea split through 3 people and laid it up. Like, bro, if you're going to have 3 people there, he can't get all the way to the rim, but he did. So you have to give a lot of credit to OKC and the bodies that he saw. But I want to go back to Shea, right? And you asked me, what does Ant need to work on? Shea does a great job of, even though their bodies there, being really patient. He's got like a herky-jerky kind of like move. He makes that little like I was trying to show my son Ty the move where he kind of like steps back off that right foot. The ball's in his left pocket. And what that step back does is just gives you time to read, right? We're talking space now. If you
it's like you're going into a double dutch.
Yeah, but like so I'm gonna like kind of step back on you and create, I don't know, 2 to 3 feet of space by me stepping away from you. What are you going to do now? If you stay back, then that's enough space for me to shoot that jump shot, right? He's also got a wicked hezzy off of that. But if you close that space, now your force is moving this way and my force is moving that way. And I'm already faster than you, so you're dead. So that gives him like an answer to being out there. And what he does when he gets in the paint is he plays off of 2 a lot. And by that, I mean he gets to 2 feet. So he's got a lot available to him. Ant used to do this. Like Ant used to get in the paint, have his fade, have his spin fade. It wasn't there. He stepped through. That wasn't there. He'd get back to the spin fade. Like Shea does that really well. And what Ant has done with the getting all the way to the rim is everything is kind of in the air off of 1 foot. You saw him last night in there like flying at the rim.
There was one where he could have dunked. It was actually a brilliant play. He could have dunked that shit and just like whoosh.
Yeah. But so I would add to Ant is maybe playing off of 2 a little bit more. And that would go hand in hand with like getting to that second level scoring when you have to. If the 3's going in, Logan, look, I'm not an old curmudgeon. If you're shooting and making enough 3s to win games, do it. But like you become more predictable when that's what you're doing, especially when they're not running. Steph does it because they run all kind of shit that gets him open 3s.
Yeah.
It's not like he's just handling the ball and casting up 3s. That's what they're doing with Ant.
Absolutely. That was the point I was trying to make, right? Where the 3 is the threat. Steph Curry's 3 is the threat. It helps him do a lot of different things. Like he's always faking the 3 or trying to use the 3 to keep you on edge. But like he's also got a mid-range game that doesn't get publicized, right? He also can get to the cup. He also can do some shit in the paint, do a little fadeaway. It's not the up and under moves that you're saying, right? It's the total bag, and Ant has the total bag. That's why I say like he's settling because he's not using the 3-pointer as a threat. He's forcing the 3-pointer instead.
Okay, but it's more nuanced.
You get what I'm saying?
I do, but I think to some degree, if you will, what you're missing in that is like, it's a threat for Steph because he shoots it so well and because of how they keep him moving to get them. The action that sets up his 3 is a very reflexive action. So like, you do this and you make that wrong read and Steph's popping for a 3. And because he's such a good shooter, people are closing out to him, like just trying to run him off of that 3. So now you've got a live dribble where you can shoot the head fake and use the threat to get by your man. Ant doesn't have that luxury because everything is off the bounce. Like, look.
Yeah.
Let me do this right now. I'm going to do this right now. Like, I got a young son that plays like Ty. People have heard me talk about him before, right? And he plays in a program that it's a very good Under Armour program, but the guy who coaches him at the Under Armour level isn't his high school coach, right? And I kind of stay out of it. Like, I just watch him play. But Ty's a pretty good scorer and they need Ty to score. This coach has kind of intimated that Ty's so good at scoring that he doesn't run anything for him. He'll just let him go get buckets. To which they got beat the last time they played. They had a good team from Cali. They did what they did to Ant. They bodied him over every screen. They threw 3 bodies at him every time he drive the ball and all of that. And what I said to his coach who asked me the question, I said, hey man, that's fine. Like, he's going to beat a lot of teams doing that. Like, you just rolling it out and telling him to go get 20, it's fine. I was like, but when you see those teams that are going to stack a defense, that know all of his tendencies to do all of that, then you got to help him by running some actions that get him a touch with a live dribble. So he can now use his ball fake to get by people. You know what I'm saying? Or like those are different touches than Ant's getting. And the only reason I'm really dialed in is because it just happened a couple weeks ago, which is like, look, if your only option to shoot a three is having to like wiggle your man and come, and shoot a three off the bounce or come off of a pick and roll, which they can take away by just staying with you as a secondary defender, like you're not going to get many of those.
Yeah. Staying on that really quickly, but I want to talk about the defensive. You said something earlier about the differences in how each defenses between the Timberwolves and the Thunder are attacking each of the stars, right? And you talked about how the Thunder are blitzing the Timberwolves, but the Timberwolves aren't necessarily blitzing Shea, right? And how much of that is a personnel issue, right? Because maybe they're also scared of J-Dub, like, because there was a play. Me and Cliff fucking saw this. It was also just a bad defensive rotation, but it was towards the end when I think it was McDaniel about to Shea had the ball at the center of the key and they're playing man to man, and J-Dub was on the left wing, I believe, and McDaniel just runs towards Shea to double him, and it fucking gives a wide open 3-point shot to McDaniels, and it was a defensive lapse. But what I'm saying is, like, how much do you think that the Timberwolves are scared to blitz Shea because he has a better supporting cast, right? Love to Dante DiVincenzo, love to Alexander Walker,
Jaden McDaniels,
but they're still they're not J-Dub and Chet Holmgren. You know what I mean? So, like, how much do you think that plays a part into the differences in defensive approaches in this series?
Well, it definitely plays a part, Logan. Anytime you have real competent support, it lessens what someone can do to take you away because of the threat of them beating you. It is always going to boil down to, at least in large part, to what are you willing to live with? What do you want to say beat you if it beats you? Do you want to say that, hey, the others beat me? Or do you want to look someone in the face and say, yeah, I let the fucking MVP beat me?
Yeah.
Now, I don't have the answer to that. Your answer might be, hey, man, we'll let him score 50 and we'll try to choke them out. And I've told you in the past that I've got multiple instances where we either employed that strategy or or someone employed it against us, and it bore fruit. Finding the balance of that, again, sorry guys, this is geeky shit, man. This is really weeds. This is in the weeds of basketball. But like when Ant goes full speed.
Yeah.
There's very little probing. Once he decides he's not shooting the three, he's on top of the rim, right? Well, let's say we don't double you right away. Think about decision making. Do you make better decisions when you have more or less time?
You have less time. Oh, yeah. You have make better decisions when you have more time.
When you have more time, right?
When you have more time.
So if Ant is going from A to B and it's taking him 0.5 seconds, all right? And then all of a sudden, as he starts moving, boom, here's a double team. Yeah. That's a small amount of time to make a decision and make a play and decide you want to still score. Whereas Shea is like probing a lot of the time, trying to work his way to the basket. So that same 0.5 seconds to get to the rim for Ant, Shea's doing it in 2 seconds, right? Yeah. That's 4 times the amount of time.
Because he's so decisive.
Yeah, but it's also just his style of play, right? So like when you're trying to send doubles at him, they don't really surprise him. He's still under control and he's playing at a speed where now he can make the decision that kills you over and over again, right? Yeah. So like he's harder to double than Ant. I would say if I was devising a defense, I would say it's harder to double him, not just because he's got better supporting pieces, but because the style, the pace, and the areas where he is at on the floor at times can make it harder for him to double. I would still say to you, Denver zoned him. That was their answer to taking SGA away, right? Zone.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to tell me they had Jokic, and that's true too, like in whatever. But that was their effort to say, yo, this dude is not going to single-handedly beat me. And they got him to what, 7 games?
7 games.
So
that's a zone with Jokic, though, by the way.
That's a zone with Jokic, granted. Zone with Jokic. I'm not saying that you go out and you say, yo, I'm about to run a bunch of zone. I'm not saying that you come out and you say, we're blitzing him every time he touches it. I'm not telling you that you come out and every pick and roll, which is a free hit, by the way, because they're just bringing a secondary defender up there. But I'm not telling you to do that. What I am telling you is throw some shit at the wall. What about a little box and one from time to time? I'm not saying it's going to be like the answer, but maybe that throws them off of their rhythm a little bit. We're just talking, you lost by what? 2 points?
Yeah.
Any little break in the rhythm.
If it's right,
triangle, but triangle and two, you saw Golden State use that a few years ago against Toronto. Remember that? Like we were like, oh shit, look at that. Like you got to have some wrinkles to at least see if it throws them off of their spot. You can't let this man come out here and be 40 balling you with 10-9. You can't do that.
Raja, don't ever apologize for geeking out like that. That was phenomenal, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, man. I don't know if it's good potting, but like it's real talk. Like that's what
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You'll be all right. Okay, so at 6:21 p.m. as we're watching the game on the Real Ones group chat, I get a notification from Raja Bell. Mind you, Raja doesn't participate in the group chat unless it's like something pertinent. And so at 6:21 p.m. in the group chat, we get a Raja Bell text. They're letting these mofos kill each other. Crying emoji. What do you think of the physicality of this series in Game 4?
Again, I'm here for it. I mean, I like the physical brand of basketball. I enjoy watching it. But we're not going to come on here and I hope Howard's listening because like last pod, I felt like he was really trying to argue like kind of lightweight, subtly that like the whistle was the same. We can all agree that it's not the same, right?
Well,
we're watching the same shit.
You know, he put on his specs and said, you know, we got data.
The
data says
we're watching the same shit though, right? I'm not arguing that they don't blow, but they are letting those dudes like really get after each other physically. The amount of bodies that were like splaying on the floor.
It was like the league had a memo just like, oh, y'all was talking shit all these years about the lack of physicality. Don't trip. Bet. It's all good. It's fine.
Yeah. They're letting
Bring your hard
go.
hats.
And you know what? Like I have always, basketball is a contact sport. Now you have to make contact legally. But if you do that, there is contact that is appropriate and should be, in the game. And to the degree that they legislated some of it out, I disagreed with. But I like the style of play. I like the way the refs are handling it. I don't think it has reached a point of boiling over at any real time that I can remember. I mean, so I'm for it. And I think that when you're talking about a champion, it shouldn't just be the team that shoots the best or executes offensively the best. These are grown men, bro. That's why you spend all that time in the weight room. That's why you take care of your bodies. That's why you do all of that. There should be a component of that goes into the equation when you're trying to parse through who's the better team. And allowing the physicality to be in the game, allows that to be a part of it.
Raja, speaking of physicality and the foul calls, I'm still getting the foul merchant allegations from SGA on the timeline. The best one was from Miles Brown, though. He called him Essence Harden. You wouldn't get this because you're not in these hype beast streets, but that was a phenomenal pull for him. Anyways, it was all of these arguments are kind of like trying to nullify, I feel like, Shea's impact because they feel like he's baiting calls and all these things. And this is a discussion that we have had for most of the season. I don't think we've had it much on this program.
Who's Miles Brown?
He's on he's a writer. He's a Twitter personality.
All right. Go ahead. My bad.
Who the fuck is Renee Zellweger?
My bad. Go ahead. My bad. I didn't mean to interrupt. I mean, I guess I did, but who is that? All right.
Anyways, I've been seeing it, and then I've been watching like Shea's game, bro. And I just want to say, man, I get really tired about these foul merchant allegations because they're annoying. Because you just got to fucking stop them. Figure out a way to stop them, man. The calls are the calls, bro. It is what it is. Go figure it out.
Can I request?
I'm just annoyed by it.
Can I request a segment? Like, I don't know if we have the technological capabilities here, but
Victoria's one of the greatest of all time. Put some respect on her name.
SGA, like he went to the free throw line 14 times last night, right? If there would be a way that we could bring up all of the plays where he was fouled and awarded free throws, I'd like to go through them with you, with Howard, with anyone. I'm not. Look, it might wind up that the jury.
Let's figure that out for next episode.
He was foul baiting.
Let's figure that out.
But I'd like to do that exercise. I was watching last night. I'm with you, Logan. He's a tough person to guard. He has mastered putting you as the defender in a compromised situation and having to make contact with him. And he's even further mastered, once you make that contact, exposing it. And if that is a foul merchant or a baiter, I don't see it as a baiter. Like, what is the true definition of merchant? Let me look up merchant. Like, what does it have a negative connotation in any way, shape, or form?
See what a merchant is. Merchant definition. This is from Merriam-Webster. It's a buyer or a seller of commodities for profit. So I guess he just sells calls.
You're selling it. Well, then I would. Okay. I don't see that as a negative. The only reason I was asking is because I thought there might be some language and some other like definition of it that suggested he was doing something nefarious or that wasn't, that it was illegal. Like if I'm selling a foul that has happened so that you realize it has happened, I'm not apologizing for that. I'm not apologizing for him for that. That is what you are supposed to do. When you are a professional scorer, any professional scorer knows that there are going to be nights when that thing is not going in the basket in the normal way. You have a bad shooting night. The way you supplement and you're able to continue to score and point produce is by getting to the what?
Get to the free throw line. You don't average 30 a game unless you get to the free throw line.
People master that. And sure, does he push the envelope? And like he hit a shot last night. I think it was going right. He took that little bump that he normally takes and he kind of like threw himself to the right, but he still banked that sucker in. They didn't give him the call. He banked it in. Like, yeah, some of them that he doesn't get push the line further than it should be pushed. But I think the refs have done a relatively good job, at least in the playoffs when I've been tuned into every game, of letting that go.
Here's another thing. When Harden played in the playoffs, right? And this is also Cliff chiming on the group chat, and he does make a great point. And I still want to make my Harden point, but he says people are complaining about the type of whistle he gets compared to others, not necessarily how many he's getting.
Stop.
And also, here's the thing, bro. This isn't a fucking meritocracy, bro. Like people get different calls, dude. It's not like it's not all fair. It's not that way. They don't get the ball the same amount of time. It's that. But okay, go ahead, Roger, because I want to make my Harden point. Go ahead.
Make the point. I'll stay right here.
Okay. The thing with Harden is when you saw him in the playoffs, one of the things that fucked him up was he was going for those same calls and it didn't work. Like he was actually fishing for those calls and it did not work. As opposed to, I feel like what you're saying with Shea, he's exemplifying the contact that is already there.
Yeah, he is making it obvious that there is illegal contact in some of those situations, and receiving the benefit that is the foul.
But the thing is, he's still making those shots where Harden would not be making those shots.
But hear what I'm saying to you. In some of those situations, they give it to him, and some they don't. But he doesn't rely on that to score. This man is still out there putting on a clinic offensively. He is taking it to the rim like fuck these officials on a lot of occasions. He's not relying on them on those middies all the time. But if he gets you in a bad way, i.e., Rudy Gobert on the switch, and Rudy got that 9-foot arm out there on his fucking hip, and he feels it, he's going to go up into the air and get that arm to come down on his off arm and draw 2 free throws. Like that's what he's going to do, and that's why he's a professional scorer. And if you don't like it, go look at everybody. Let me tell you this story again. I've said it before. Kobe Bryant, everybody's favorite. Okay, like said to an official in front of me, in my presence, at a game, at the Staples Center, call it both ways. I couldn't believe my ears. I'm going to say this again. You want to clip it? I don't give a fuck. We got heated. I was up in his space. He hit me with an elbow, split my lip. We got kind of chest to chest. He felt like I had challenged him in a way. He looked at the official and said, "Call it even tonight." I was appalled.
That was gangster. I'm not gonna lie, that's fire.
Look up how many. That's not fire. That's not fire. That's not fire. That's some bullshit. But look at how many free throws I shot that night, and look at how many free throws I historically shot.
Do you remember
we
the game
played the Lakers
specifically? Do you remember the game specifically?
This would have been. I was
out.
with Utah more than likely.
Okay.
So it would have been 04 or 05 in the Staples Center. I don't remember what year which one of those years it was.
Okay. I will look that up during the break.
The point is, all of your favorite players, all of your best players get a whistle that the ninth guy on the bench doesn't get. They get a whistle that the fifth starter doesn't get. They get a whistle that the number 3 player on the team doesn't get. Book it.
So before we go to break, just want to put a stat out that it was a simple Google search. In his NBA playoff career, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander averages 6.8 free throw attempts per game. Throughout his NBA career, Michael Jordan averaged 9.9 free throw attempts per game in the postseason.
Who else? Give me other names. Give me other names. Let me see. What does LeBron average in the playoffs? What is Larry Bird average in the playoffs?
Free throw attempts. Well, I mean, Dwayne Wade he had 97 free throw attempts in the 6-game series in the 06 finals. So, I mean, that's just, we saw that. I got to go to break, Roger. We got to talk about the Knicks, brother. And I got to look up your stats. So let's take a quick break and be right back. The NBA playoffs are finally here, and there's no better way to be a part of the action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. After another competitive season, the top teams are ready to battle their way through the playoff bracket in hopes of taking home the championship. And if you think you know how it's all going to go down, then make those predictions pay off with FanDuel, an NBA profit boost. Simply make your bet, activate your boost, and go for even bigger winnings. Let's take a look at the slate. There's only one game. Knicks Pacers. I'm going to take the Knicks, and I'm going to take the over on points as an assist from Jalen Brunson, and I'm going to take the over on points in the fourth quarter from Karl Towns. I think he can do it again. Why not? Don't just be spectacular this postseason. Head to FanDuel.com/RingerNBA to download America's #1 sportsbook and make every moment more. Must be 21 years and older and present in select states, or 18 and older and present in D.C. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rghelp.com. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We did some investigative reporting on basketballreference.com. We have found the game, ladies and gentlemen, where Raja has been just referencing for years. Since we started this podcast, he's literally told this story millions of times. And we have found the game finally.
It's one of my wildest NBA stories. It's just wild.
So this is February 15th, 2005. This is a 102-95 victory for the Los Angeles Lakers. So Raja Bell finished with 16 points. He was 5 of 12 from the field. He was 6 of 7 from the free throw line. This dude averaged 1.6 free throws per game in his career. Do you want to know how many? Do you want to know how many Kobe would call in it even? How many Kobe got that night? How many free throws?
Probably 14.
Over or under 14?
Well, now since you said over under, probably over.
He had 19 free throw attempts, 15 of 19.
Yeah, dude. So you're still gonna get the whistle.
40.
You're clearly you're much better player. But they gave me. I would venture to say, I know this is gonna be crazy. People are probably gonna find it, and I'll be wrong. But of the 1.9 free throw attempts I had per game,
1.6.
1.6. It's probably less than that when we played the Lakers. So the fact that they gave me 7 was way out of character when I played them jokers.
It's nuts. It's
nothing. It's only to say your favorite player get to the free throw line, dude.
I go on YouTube all the time. I hope this becomes a reel where they do the thing where they put us talking in the background and then him just.
No, don't do that, man. I don't need no clips. I don't want to be. I don't.
You just said you didn't give a fuck about getting aggregated in the last pot. It
doesn't mean that I want it. I mean, if you understand what I'm saying?
You're acting like Howard right now, bro. You're acting real scary right now. Jesus.
Well, bitch, why don't you get your ass up there and get aggregated by millions of fucking Kobe fans? You do it.
I've been aggregated by billions of motherfucking fans. You just ain't been outside. It's tough.
Kobe fans, I said.
Well, I was the one shitting on you. When you talk about Kobe fans, I was one of the aggregators, though.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said. You go ahead and
I've been aggregated. I mean, getting aggregated by like a million fucking any fandom of stands is not great. Like, it sucks. Look at this shit, Raja. I'm sending this to you right now. This is when we got aggregated by clutch points, and it was amazing. You see that? That's how it felt to get aggregated by you were breaking up the Jordan Poole and Draymond. How do you feel about that, sir?
I mean, I don't even remember what I said about that, but I can't listen. Aggregation it kind of comes with the territory, I guess. But if I can avoid it, like, I don't want to incite it. So like, I don't mind being. I mean, I'm not on there like that. You know that. So half of the shit that I get aggregated for, I don't see it.
Okay. No, It was awesome. This was awesome. Anyway, speaking of awesome, let's talk about the fucking performance of Karl Towns.
Let's do that.
Let's do that in game 4 of their series, or game 3 of the Knicks Pacers series.
Mm-hmm.
Dog, Karl Towns was just brilliant, bro. He was the OG at Dykeman. He was the big dog at West 4th. He was just at Rucker. He had the knee pads on, bro. He's running like this and shit. He's a Dominican OG. He was holding it down. 20 points in the fourth quarter. It felt like I don't know if it was a sea change or some fluke shit, but it was beautiful to watch. Raja, what did you thought of the performance, and how does he continue this on from now? Because I feel like the Knicks have a chance in the series still. After all the things that happened at Madison Square Garden, after everything that popped off, this team has heart, and I believe that they could still win this in 7. Like, it's just going to be one of those wonky series. And this is going to come out at like 4, like an hour before the game. So this might be null and void when this podcast comes out. But I feel something. That made me feel some type of way.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess I said from the jump, I don't have a real great feeling on this series. It's kind of played out like that. I mean, 20 point lead disappeared for the Knicks, 20 point lead disappeared for the Pacers. The Pacers, like, it's just a weird series. Karl Anthony-Towns was fantastic in the fourth quarter. Aggressive, decisive, just in his bag all around. I think how he continues to do that is going to require want to be delicate when I say this, but I think other people have made the point. I've said it before too, as it relates to, I've even said it as it related to Jason Tatum when he got hot and he was on the ball. Jalen Brunson is going to have to find the happy medium, that balance between being the assassin that he is and closing games, but leaving enough opportunity for the others to help him out, and not just completely kind of throwing the flow of the offense off. That sounds so crazy because this isn't accusatory in any way. Like, he is their offense a lot of nights, you know what I mean? But like, you have to have a good feel for when you've got to give up a few of those touches and a few of those ISOs and a few of those monopolizing possessions to just get it up and get it moving and let other people get a taste.
Yeah. What did you think of the decision to bench Brunson for much of the second half by Tibbs?
Well,
he was in foul trouble.
Yeah.
But he didn't come into like the 1 minute mark or like with 2 minutes left in the game.
Well, at that point, you're coaching. I mean, you're coaching, man. Like, I don't think he benched him because he didn't like what he was doing. He sat him down because he was trying to protect him from the foul trouble. But once you're sitting there, if we are hooping, I mean, I'm riding that for a while. I owe it to everybody out there, you too included. You're on the team, right? So like, while you you're still my best player and my best closer. Like, I'm going to ride this wave until it crashes on the shore, right? And then we'll call that timeout, try to get you in the game or what have you. So I didn't have a problem with it. It would have been different had they said like, he's having a bad night, we're going to just sit our star. I don't think it didn't come about like that. So I was okay with it.
It seemed like a Raja Bell type game. The role players were fucking insane in this game for the Knicks. What was your favorite performance of the? And I'm going to give you 3 names.
Yeah,
I'm going to give you 2.5. OG, Josh Hart, or McBride in the first half.
Yeah, that's tough. McBride in the first half. McBride in the first half was good, and I like. But I think ultimately for me, it's Hart, and the reason being because he was asked to sit down to start a game. He was asked to play a different role. And I don't know that he was asked, but he was put in a situation to have to sacrifice for the betterment of the team. And, you always talk to young players about that, young athletes, just about, what you can control, what you can't control, and how you act in the face of change and how that relates to a team being able to have success because of you or a team not being able to have success because of you. And I thought he just went about that the right way. I thought he went about that, and I had no doubt he would. But that's just something you can always point to as a dad, as a coach, as a mentor, and say, look at that. Sat him down. You didn't sulk. Came out, and he didn't score a lot of points, but was just doing everything that they need him to do.
The rebounding down the stretch was incredible. That last rebound where he just fell on his knee, but you knew it was okay. That was like superhero shit, bro. It was a marvel to watch him down the stretch. It was a marvel to watch OG down the stretch. He had that one block at the end. I think that was it on Neesmith? It was on Neesmith. Neesmith tried to back him down and hit a fadeaway, and OG was like, nah, fuck that.
Yeah, that's not even in your bag, homie. That's not
Stop
even.
Playing,
he was
bro.
In mid back.
You don't practice that shot.
Yeah,
is that your shot?
Defensive play, but that was not you could tell that was not comfortable.
But it was like almost like OG was offended that he would even go into that bag, knowing that that's not even his bag, bro. He was like, "What are you doing?"
That was a great block. Not to go back a series, but there were 2 blocks last night that were incredible. Jaden McDaniels on the Jay Will had the layup that he wrapped behind his back, and McDaniels was already contesting that and came down and then beat up the shot on the other side of the backboard, and then Chet's block late off of like, wow.
Yeah, man, I didn't say enough about Chet. We're going back to the Knicks series, but very impressed by how Chet has responded from those missed free throws against Denver. He's just been balling, bro. He is a legitimate piece going forward for them, and just the dunks, the toughness, right? He's probably 87 pounds, but he's using it. So I can getting people out of the way. But where do the Knicks go from here? Because the Knicks are down 2-1 in the series, but I feel they're a bit different than Minnesota because this has been even through 3 games and the wins that Indiana got. I still feel like these 2 teams are still way evenly matched, right? The Knicks can make a great argument they should be up 2-1 in the series, right? And they played really well in Indiana. I'm basically saying all these things to say I don't have a feel for this series, and I don't know what the hell is going to go on. Do you have a feel for this series, Raja? Do you know what's going on, or is it just going to be whoever just is still on the court at Game 7 is going to win, or is it? I don't know. I really don't. I'm speaking this out because I don't have a fucking clue what's going to happen in the series, and I don't know what's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either. I haven't known from the beginning. I would say that the pace of this series has come back down into the Knicks wheelhouse. You had 130s, although that was inflated because of overtime in the first game. But then you were 114, I think was the winning number in game 2. And then what was it? 106 in the last game, 106, 100. If you're holding Indiana to 100, a sub 110, if you can hold them to that with a combination of dictating pace and defending, you're going to be in. That's a good spot for the Knicks to be in. Very good spot for the Knicks to be in. If we are talking in that next 5-point range, the 110 to 115, I don't have a great idea. Anything could happen. 115 plus, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
So that's what I think I know. What happens in the series, how they do it, like this shit's all over the place. I didn't have a good feel coming in. I still don't. Because you could make the same case that the Pacers should be riding 3-0 right now and everybody's packing their bags for Cancun.
That's what I'm saying. That's just what this series has been, bro. Like I have no clue. Because like as a series wears on, I do feel like it pushes towards the Knicks way because the game slows down as the series goes further and further, right? Like you're not going to be having all them runouts after getting your ass kicked for 4 games, right? Like it's just not going to happen. But then again, like Pacers could very well run them out of the building. So we'll see. I don't know, but I tell you what, I don't know why. Like this isn't like a prediction or anything. I just have a gut. I think the Pacers might hang a number on them tonight. I don't know why I feel like that. There's nothing supporting that. It's just kind of my gut. I don't know. We'll see, man. I don't know. Thoughts on Halliburton's dad getting allowed back into the building? You're a resident dad reporter here.
Welcome back, bro. That man he did his time. He made a mistake. He did his time. He paid his penance.
You see him at the bar out here doing the choke sign out here in these streets. He's out here in these streets, Ra.
You know what, man? Like, here's what I'll say to that. Definitely not a good look on the heels of everything that transpired, right? Right, but we can agree.
We can agree.
But that seems to be who he is. It's and we should probably know that because like his son kind of gets down and has some antics and is known to pop a little shit. So like, I'm not mad at you, Dad. The time and the place.
He's a great boy.
Yeah, time and a place, right? Time and place. But good for him being back in the building. That's your child, man. Like, and do you know how proud? I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, I'm proud as hell just watching my kids do their youth sports and stuff like that. But if I had a kid playing a professional sport this late in the playoffs, I mean, I remember my parents being in the building and the pride that them and my grandparents and aunts and uncles had. Like, I don't want anyone to miss out on that unnecessarily. So I'm paid his penance, man. Did the time. Let him back.
That's what's up. You know who's not proud of their team?
Who you got, bud?
Mr. Cliff Augustine. I wanted to give him the floor right now. We've been on the Paul George beat for the last few weeks.
The return of Podcast P.
The return of Podcast P. Can you just hear what's your deal with Podcast P right now? What's going on? Give us the Philly temp check on his last podcast appearance on the 7 p.m. in BK podcast. Just
no. That was actually Podcast P.
Oh,
it's their ran by the same.
Wave. They both.
I think that's like Wave.
Yo, shout out to all the homies
yeah.
at Wave, man. Shout out to all the homies. Shout out Pierce.
Yeah, shout out to them, man. They doing
for sure.
They doing crazy good work over there. Shout out to Podcast P. Shout out to 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. Shout out to Kazim. That's our dog over here at the Ringer.
But that's not why we're here, though. It's not why we're here.
That's not why we're here. That's not why we're here. Let's be clear. Why we're here is that Podcast P has continued his apology tour to the city of Philadelphia for being hurt last season and coming up short and having all types of excuses of everything that's going on. And I texted Logan this and I said, "What's up with this man?" I said he got about one more of these until like everybody's just like, "Yo, dog, just
pack
it stop.
up, bro.
Just
we
stop.
Will buy you out as a collective ourselves, bro. Get the fuck out of here." I think that's where we're at right now.
So in case you didn't know, Podcast P got stuck in traffic after the Eagles won the NFC Championship game against the Washington Commanders, and he was literally driving on like Broad Street for some reason. I have no clue why. There's a lot of fans driving. They're like, and he reminisced about the story. He said, "Yo, is that Podcast P?" He's like, "We should have just fucking kept Tobias Harris instead of giving you the contract." And then Paul laughed it off. He said, "Yeah, shout out to TB. That's my dog." Da 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 da. And I'm just coming from a point. I'm like, what are you laughing at all for, yo? Like, you just came up short all crazy last season. You were hurt all last season. Now you want an apology tour. Tobias Harris objectively had a pretty solid season in Detroit. Although they did finish, losing to the Knicks in 6 games in the first round. Detroit was obsolete before that. Hadn't made the playoffs in 15
They
years.
unlocked Cartier Cliff. Like,
yeah. Like, come on, man. See, Raj, this is my point about players doing this player media stuff, and I love it because it gives you a lot of clips. But at the same time, it's like, you're exposing yourself. You're doing yourself somewhat a disservice, and now you went on an apology tour. But on top of that, you're acting as if you're above a player who actually performed better than you. Like, what's like the mentality of that is just weird.
How did he act like he was above him? What did he do? Maybe I missed something. What did he do?
So when he said, a fan told him while he was driving in the car, he's like, we should have just kept the bias. He was like, damn, like, and he started laughing it off and shit. And I'm just like, yo, bro, like, what's up with you, bro? I don't know why.
So you are a true Philly fan, Cliff.
I am.
A true Philly fan.
I am.
It wasn't that long ago, and I remember, I don't know what episode, or I would try to clip farm it, where you said something about, we don't want Tobias Harris no more. We already know what he does. I remember that. Because I'm friends with Tobias as well, right? But what I'd say,
shout out to Tobias, good dude, by the way,
great dude.
Shout out to Tobias, good dude.
I got a lot of questions. Why would you be on Broad Street with your windows down so that you could be interacting with anyone? I would have no idea why you'd be doing that.
After the NFC Championship game, literally after the NFC Championship game,
your ass in a Sprinter with tents.
With tents, dog.
He's driving.
He's
driving himself.
At minimum, be in a suite, like hanging out in the bowels of the stadium until like the traffic dies down. But P, holla at me if you need some advice on beating the traffic, dog, because I'm an expert in that. In terms of, listen, this is just, again, you guys as Philly fans are so passionate. It's what everyone loves about you when they play for the team. It's what everyone else hates about you. But he's like, what people fail to realize, it used to happen to me a lot, was what happened on the court was just a small part of my life. You know what I mean? Like, and the fan is so invested in it that it creeps over into like every part of their life. Like, they're going to work, they're talking about the Sixers game, the Knicks game. They're going to the dinner.
They're hitting Logan
at
on a
Mama's
Sunday
house.
afternoon about like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. And when we step away from it, we try our best to leave it where it was. So we're not like holding on to any of those feelings about, I wasn't good enough last night, and so I can't be riding. We're just not. We're not.
Oh, no. I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm not coming at him for like driving and going home and doing his thing and being a human being. I have zero issues with that. Like,
but in terms of his message, like him laughing that off, like he ain't worried about it. Like, he just ain't worried about it. Like,
right.
What you want? That's what I'm saying to you. Cliff, he ain't tripping.
That's where we got to beef. And that's
not
where,
worried about it.
Why?
Right? He's not.
But this is where my inner Gilly the Kid comes out. Because to me, it's like, bro, we give a shit. Like, we keep.
But that doesn't. We keep that going back to this. He doesn't care though. There's nothing he can do about it right now. Like, there's nothing he can do.
There is nothing he can do about it. But his apology tour is just starting to really irk the hell out of me, because it's
you want that apology tour to be on the court.
Yeah,
well, what did he apologize for? Maybe I'm missing something. What did he?
No, he's not. He's not literally saying I'm sorry. He's just kind of saying like, yeah, man, I had the injury. Shit wasn't right from the start of the season. He's going on the first 2 returns of his podcast. He's going in depth about how everything just went wrong to start the season. And to me, I'm just like, yo, dog. You're leaving a lot up to interpretation to people that are way more illogical than I am. Like, I'm at least somewhat reasonable. This
fuck.
Step into my office, Cliff. Step into my office. Dr. Raj is gonna.
I like this.
Go ahead and get comfortable, dog. Could it be?
I like this, Dr.
Could it be?
But
that Cliff,
yeah,
the Philly fan, the representation, the embodiment of the Philly fan, is projecting their feelings of a needed apology on Paul, when all he's doing is sitting at a microphone and telling, no, he's not apologizing though. That's what I'm saying. You're projecting that on the man. The man's just telling you what happened. The man, he ain't tripping off of that. Y'all motherfuckers want to talk about we don't want an apology tour. He's not on an apology tour.
I'm gonna be real. I watched the Gilly the Kid joint. It was definitely trying to get into some. Maybe it wasn't an apology, but it was trying to get into some good graces. Back into some good graces with the Philly. You don't come back from your podcast with Gilly the Kid if you're not trying to apologize, whether directly or indirectly, and Wallow. If you're not trying to grovel to the Philly fan base, at least come on.
But I'm gonna cut him some bell though. At least it seems like he is determined to. Obviously make up for what happened last year and how bad the Sixers ended up being. Like I said, number 3 overall pick. A lot of it relies on Joel Embiid. But to me, if he's doing all this shit in the offseason, I don't want his pod to be canceled by December. Like, you better come out swinging early on in the portion next season, right?
Listen,
like you got to cash in what you talking about.
I ain't got to do shit but cash these checks and show up if we're keeping it a buck.
But I'm not.
That's all I got to do. That's all I got to do.
We not trying
to. You might listen.
That's a fact of life, but we not trying to hear none of that.
Or try to hear whatever you want or don't want to hear. But I'm telling you, like as far as I'm concerned, if I'm Paul, listen, I ain't apologizing to y'all for shit. I didn't have a good year. Most of my years have been good ones. This one wasn't. I'm going to go back to the drawing board. I'm going to work my ass off. I'm going to come back and earnestly pursue a championship with these Philadelphia 76ers. But if I should happen to be bad again next year, don't give a fuck about what none of y'all are talking about. I'm going to be right up on my podcast handling mine.
Logan, you think Paul George would appreciate Roger speaking for him in this manner?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Paul, if you don't like to speak like this, dog, I'm available. I'll figure out a rate. I tell all these motherfuckers, hey, bro, Paul ain't got to worry about shit.
Hey, Podcast P, man. Hey, Podcast P, you better come back hooping, drop 25 per game. We not trying to hear none of the shit Roger talking about. I'm not trying to hear Dr. Raj.
Roger ain't even in Philly.
Shit,
Roger way the fuck in Miami talking that
Roger
bullshit. He ain't even in Philly.
He comfortable 305. Paul. Hey, Paul, you live here, yo. You don't want any fan. You don't want to go down South Street. People yelling at you, talking about some, get in the fucking gym.
Yeah.
No, dog.
You gotta talking that shit because he played the game that exemplified. He played the game that exemplified Philly ball. That's why he went to the mall.
I sucked
and shut the shit down.
I sucked. No. Second year.
Raj, we love you.
Appreciate that.
No, we love you out here, dog. We love you out here, dog. We love you out here.
If we're keeping it a buck, I do get love in Philly. But if we're really keeping it a buck, it was for a very, very, very small sample size, right? And that next year,
but guess what? That's all you need in Philly. Though.
I'll take it.
That's all you need in Philly.
I'll take it. Yeah. But you know what? I wasn't about to be doing that next year when I wasn't good. Apologizing to no motherfucker in the King of Prussia Mall. I wasn't about to walk into City Blue and be like, "Yo, my bad, y'all. I wasn't good last night, bro. I can see that Averex." Nah, we ain't doing that. Nah.
And for the record, Paul's not literally apologizing.
I feel you.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it just feels, Logan. It just very much feels very much.
You don't have Gilly the Kid on, bro. You don't do that in your first episode back if you're not trying to gain some good favor. I'm just saying. Here's the thing, though. Paul George ain't getting his jersey retired at that TGI Fridays on fucking City View, though. He ain't doing that, though. He ain't getting shit put up in the Raptors at TGI Fridays on City Line. That ain't happening.
City Line.
And he definitely making.
Hey, best piece of
making
advice
that
for
left
Paul
back
just
to
for
St.
me.
Joseph after practice right now. You know what I'm saying? Even if they practice somewhere else, you get the sentence. You get my drift.
Best piece of advice for Paul for me is just keep popping your shit, but back it up with 25 and 8.
In the playoffs in late May, though. In late May,
you should bounce back.
In late May, you got to do it in late May. You can't do it
in late May. But let's have a healthy year. Let's have a healthy off season. Hopefully, Joel comes back alongside with you. You know what I'm saying? Keep popping your shit, but drop that 25 and 8, bro. That's all I'm saying.
That has been another.
That's all I'm saying.
Another edition of. Go ahead, Ron. Go ahead, Ron. Pop your shit, Roger. Pop it.
I say, at what point does Paul, when all of these questions start coming at him, just do this to the locker right next to his?
give Roger.
When did you do that?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. No, I thought
he never. No. I don't, because you have to be a real low teammate to start pointing the finger at somebody else.
You know what he did though? Cliff, you know what he did though? He didn't do it. He had Gilly do it on his podcast, First Pod Back. That's what he did. He had Gilly go at Embiid.
But Gilly doesn't care. But Gilly doesn't care. So
you know what
Gilly
he said?
Going to keep going on his.
Roger, you know what he said? What Gilly said on the podcast?
Gilly. Look, Gilly and Wallow are two of my two of my favorite like personalities.
You know what he said? That was amazing on the podcast, and I'm gonna send you the clip even after I said this. He said, "You know what Philly fans don't give a fuck about? The Olympics." Talking about Embiid.
Yo, truer words could not have been spoken, bro. Truer words could not have been spoken. But look, Raj, I don't think at any point in time Paul will just definitively just be like, "Up."
Nah, I was joking.
Hey. Yeah. Paul gonna get his.
That's where I guess my point would be. Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna have a reboot of or a replay of this year next year, that ire should be squarely pointed at one of the two of them, and it ain't Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's what. Hey,
right? You know what I'm saying? So, like, at some point, the Philly fan, you want to direct that anger to where it's supposed to be directed.
When Raja,
you're not wrong, Raj. You're not wrong.
When Raja gets put on retainer by the Sixers to sit next to Embiid's locker, or not Embiid's locker, to Paul George's locker after games, all he's gonna do is he's gonna be like,
Raj, why you not in the front office, yo? Like you can talk to them. Raj, why you not in the front office? You can talk to the media. You can be transparent about injuries, stuff like that. Like the Sixers never are in people's favor because they aren't transparent enough for people.
Why I'm not in the front office anymore as well. Who knows whether I would have wound up being good at it long term? But I really enjoyed it working with the Cavs and stuff. But my kids were so young, Cliff. Like it was too hard to balance being the dad I wanted to be with.
You did say that.
Yeah,
before.
but I enjoy. Listen, don't get me wrong. One of what they used to do, what Griff used to do with me was like he'd take me in and like there would be like like a ticket holder event and stuff like that. And it'd be like a state of the team, right? Before we came out and really played games. And I'd give that address, right? Like I'd give the state of the team. I'd let the fans fire questions at me and stuff like that. So like, I actually enjoy stuff like that. Those were like the easy parts of my job. So maybe, who knows, in another, like, once the kids are grown or something like that, if there are ever any opportunities, but like, nah, dog, I like to be at these games.
Elton Brand need a partner, man. You need
EB.
It can't be just be him and Daryl up there. Him and Daryl, they've been taking heat for years, so they need somebody else to talk to. Yeah, exactly. So you probably fit that role really well, man. You sound like you don't. Tell
them holler at me, man. If they let me off the leash, that's my only condition, bro. I got to be unleashed.
Hey, Daryl, no, you heard that, man. Hire my man. After, you know what's perfect? And Todd can go to Temple.
Oh my God! My God!
How perfect would that be? How
Victoria,
perfect would that
take
be?
his bubble off. Pop Cliff's bubble. This has been another edition of Real Ones. God, that got off the rails really fast. Talking about Philly. RealOnesMailbag@gmail.com. 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 We will talk to you on Friday with Howard motherfucking Beck. Talk to you soon. All this shit's bye. Must be 21 years and older and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and older and present in D.C. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rghelp.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelpline.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.